Congratulations kepada kalian semua yang udah masuk ke semifinal. Dan ya, hari ini kita bakal semifinal. Jadi sebelum itu kita bakal roll call dulu. Jadi untuk tim yang dipanggil boleh banget katakan Cihuy, oke? Cihuy ya guys, bukan here, bukan complete, bukan lengkap, tapi Cihuy. Oke, jadi aku bakal mulai. Mana sih? Bentar. Tim debat bahasa Indonesia FPsi.
Cihuy.
Asik. Itu spirit semifinal. Tim debat bahasa Indonesia FK.
Cihuy.
Asik. Tim debat bahasa Indonesia VIA.
Cihuy.
Tim debat bahasa Indonesia FH.
Cihuy.
Asik. Oke, sekarang yang tim bahasa Inggris jangan mau kalah. Tim debat bahasa Inggris FH.
Cihuy.
Oke, agak capek ya. Mungkin belajar pengantar hukum Indonesianya capek. Oke, nggak apa-apa. Tim debat bahasa Inggris FPsi.
Cihuy.
Asik banget, Nata. Tim debat bahasa Inggris FT.
Cihuy.
Yang terakhir, jangan mau kalah. Tim debat bahasa Inggris psikologi.
Cihuy, Kak.
Oke. Kayaknya Inggris malu-malu. Oke, jadi sebelum karena semuanya udah lengkap dan kita bakal langsung lanjut. Tapi karena ini semifinal, jadi kita bakal tentuin tentuin posisi government atau oposisi. Jadi untuk panitia mungkin boleh share screen dulu. Kita akan coin toss melalui online. Oke, jadi yang akan memilih duluan, yang boleh memilih duluan itu adalah tim yang berada di breaking atas. Jadi kan kalau lawannya itu kan 1 lawan 4, 2 lawan 3. Berarti aku akan langsung manggil ke yang breakingnya nomor 1 dengan yang breaking nomor 2 yang boleh memilih. Jadi untuk kita akan mulai dari tim yang bahasa Indonesia. Oh ya, jadi ini supaya punya similar understanding aja. Jadi buat yang milih, misalnya ada yang milih hats gitu kan. Terus kalau misalnya ternyata dapetnya hats, berarti dapetnya government. Berarti lawannya yang lawannya dapat opposition. Jadi usahakan jangan tebaknya benar. Itu adalah wejangan dari kami. Oke ya. Jadi untuk tim debat bahasa Indonesia, dari yang breaking pertama berarti FPsi, boleh langsung dipilih.
We're on the head as always, so kita ambil heads.
Oke, debat bahasa Indonesia menjadi bahasa Inggris. Oke, bercanda Ari, jangan marah. Humor. Oke, berarti tim FH adalah tails. Langsung, panitia. Tails, berarti FH akan menjadi government atau pemerintah, FPsi akan menjadi oposisi. Selanjutnya aku mengundang perwakilan dari Fakultas Kedokteran. Boleh langsung milih mau head atau tails?
Tails.
Oke, berarti Via akan menjadi head. Langsung dikocok. Tails. Berarti FK akan menjadi pemerintah, Via akan menjadi oposisi. Panitia tolong dicatat ya, aku long term bukan apa sih itulah pikiranku nggak jangka pendek maksudnya. Oke, lanjut. eh, sekarang kita ke English debate karena yang breaking 1 dengan 2 adalah FH dengan FPsi, berarti yang boleh milih adalah FH dan FPsi. Aku mengundang perwakilan dari Fakultas Hukum Debat Bahasa Inggris.
Hello, I'm from FH English. We want tails.
Oke, mau ekor. Berarti Fakultas Psikologi akan mendapatkan atau menjadi head. Coba langsung dikocok. Oke, berarti tim FH akan menjadi government, tim psikologi akan menjadi opposition. Kita lanjut kepada perwakilan dari FISIP.
Bentar. Tunggu. Aduh. Heads. Sorry. Kedengeran nggak sih? Kepala, woi, kepala.
Oh iya. Wah, ini partisipannya lebih galak dari ekor. Oke. FISIP memilih apa tadi? Heads ya. Berarti FT akan memilih tails. Langsung dikocok. Oke, berarti FISIP menjadi government, FT akan menjadi opposition. Oke, semuanya udah dicatat. Sabar, kita akan conduct dulu ke Debat-nya. Oke, sembari kita buat ke Debat, ini aku bakal mungkin infoin secara lisan aja. Buat yang breaking 1 lawan breaking 4, berarti kalian akan berada di chamber 1, breaking 2 lawan breaking 3, berarti kalian akan ada di chamber 2. Jadi langsung aja ganti nama kalian berdasarkan aturan yang udah aku sebutin. Yang belum ganti aku panggil ya. Muhammad Hanif, Natasha.
Aku.
Ya diganti. Faiza Afelia.
Oh iya. Bentar, Bang.
Justin Gabriel, kita nggak ada chamber 3. Nanti kamu
Wait, I'm sorry.
Ian Manuel juga belum ganti ya.
Udah kak.
Oke, Alga tolong jangan pencemaran nama baik. Kamu akan kena pasal 310. Nggak ada itu, Elgat suka gosip. Astagfirullahaladzim, kamu sangat durhaka, Elgat. Oke, karena semuanya udah ganti. Yuk, kita jadi gosip aja, guys. Oke, fokus dulu ya. Nanti kalau mau gosip, aku akan provide breakout room maksudnya. Oke, lanjut. Selanjutnya aku bakal memberikan kita akan motion launch. Aku akan memberikan posisi motion launch kepada my best friend Kezia. Time and place are yours.
Test, am I audible? Oh. Test, am I audible?
Yes,
You are.
audible.
Okay, cool. Panit bisa tolong pindah ke the next slide ya. Okay, for the semifinal round, here's the clue and it's really obvious. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, lanjut. The motion is under the heading of philosophy. This house regrets the dominant narrative that aims to prioritize teaching values of communalism in children. This house believes that the present condition of humanity is better than it would be in the upcoming 100 years. Third motion, as a healthy 30 years old, assuming feasibility, this house would abandon the ability to romantically love. Terus mosi bahasa Indonesianya, Dewan ini menyesali naratif dominan yang bertujuan memprioritaskan pengajaran nilai-nilai komunalisme kepada anak-anak. Mosi kedua, Dewan ini percaya bahwa kondisi umat manusia saat ini lebih baik daripada kondisi umat manusia dalam 100 tahun mendatang. Mosi terakhir, sebagai orang sehat berumur 30 tahun, dengan asumsi bahwa hal ini merupakan hal yang mungkin, Dewan ini akan membuang kemampuan untuk mencintai secara romantis. Are there any questions about the motions, the wording of the motion? Going once. Going twice. If there are no more questions, we can proceed to the breakout rooms and start the motion preference. Thank you.
Halo, untuk siapa yang bertanggung jawab hari ini panitianya yang mana ya? Aduh, aku lupa lagi namanya. Anita, mana Anita? Halo Anita. Anita. Oke deh, Alam. Ada Alam nggak?
Iya Kak, kenapa?
Oh, oke. Itu mana yang jawab aku tadi? Oke, yang penting Mita ya tadi yang jawab ya.
Iya.
Oke, Mita, boleh langsung diumumin aja case building mulai dari sekarang. Berarti kita akan mulainya semuanya maksimal udah harus mulai jam 20.12. Itu buat dari
2012.
ya, jam penting 20 ya nggak sih? Ya 20.12 sudah harus mulai semua. Itu yang pertama. Terus apa namanya? Aku mau ini untuk kasih bukan briefing apa sih? Titip informasi kalau kalau pas prelim kemarin kan kayak dari panitia kayak ada buat aturan harus terima POI kan kalau misalnya udah nolak 3 kali. Nah, untuk kali ini kayak infoin ke semua moderator dan panitia yang ada di ruangan masing-masing breakout bilang peraturan itu dihapus ya. Jadi
Peraturan
terserah
apa Kak? Maaf
yang
putus-putus Kak.
kayak
Hi, is the H core here?
Yeah, the edge core is right there.
Ya, ada apa ya?
Can we ask for like a short clarification on the wording of the motion?
Oh no, it's too late. Harusnya
Alright.
tadi. Ya udah.
Fine.
Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
Terus lu bilangin gak sih? Terus lu bilangin gitu emphasize. Sumpah, I muted myself.
You've done it twice.
Justin Gabriel, please turn your camera on. All right, everyone, time's up. Okay. Before we start the debate, I would like to ask each team's POI preference. Government team, what will be your POI preference, whether it be verbally or through Zoom chat?
Mine will be by text.
Opposition team, what will be your POI preference?
Yeah, verbally, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will start the screen sharing.
Wait, Kak, can you please excuse me a minute? I need to go to the bathroom. Thank you.
Hi, may I know which motion are we debating?
The motion number 1, Kak. Wait, it's...
Okay, thank you. I can see it in here.
Okay. All right, since everyone is here, we're going to start now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone to the OIM UI 2020 English Debate Competition. Permission to introduce myself once again. My name is Evelina Putri Atala. As the moderator, will guide the process of the debate for this round. First of all, I will introduce the two teams that will compete in this round, starting with the Government of Faculty of Law, where Daniel Wiarta is the first speaker, Faiza Afelia is the second speaker, and Justin Gabriel is the third speaker. And Daniel Wiarta, who will deliver the reply speech. From the opposition team from Faculty of Psychology, where Shaza Muti is the first speaker, Zidan Raleto Seno is the second speaker, Joshua Karel Rianto is the third speaker, and Zidan Raleto Seno will deliver the reply speech. Okay, without further ado, I would like to call the first speaker from the government team. Time and place is yours.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
All right. I'll be setting up my timer.
Guys, I'm so sorry. Which one is the proposition and which one is the opposition? Because in the Tabikat, the government is the psychology, FH yang oposisi.
FI is proposition.
Berarti Tabikat salah ya?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, the dominant narrative that coerces children to deprioritize themselves and put others and their community first and them second is a narrative that is toxic and a narrative that forces them to sacrifice their agency in all way possible when trade-off happen that mostly are very important to them. Under such proposition, we're extremely clear. A world where you emphasize community benefit over individual benefit and make sure children compromises their agency and their own importance for anyone else is one that is toxic. Under our side, we support the counterfactual. What is the counterfactual that we are supporting? We support a world where we support individuals to prioritize themselves. That is to say, in all decision making, we support the calculus of individual to be prioritizing their own pragmatic benefit first, and secondly goes to the communal benefit. We are not going to support a world where people make sacrifices under the basis of greater good for the community. Second, we envision that community will still be there. However, the community that's under our side will be the one that is based on pragmatic reasons. That's to say, you join one community because you feel that you are benefited positively in that community. For example, if you want to join debate community, that has to be because there's some sort of advantages, be it like materialistically or be it because you feel comfortable in that community for you to join that community. We do not support a world where you join a community, you do not feel any benefit and you feel oppressed, but you're forced to stay because that is the standard and that's what you are told to do. We do not want to support that kind of world. Just to be clear though, the burden of citing government to win this debate is simple. As long as we can prove to you why principally individuals should owe themselves more and should care about themselves first rather than individual, then the narrative should be that way. We're very proud to propose. I'm going to talk about two things. One, why principally individuals should care about themselves first rather than individual than other community. Secondly, why this narrative harms the most marginalized community, which is mostly women. Firstly, let's talk about the principal idea. Before I go on to my substantive claims, I have 3 points of framing. First, I think opposition cannot play under the scenario that people will still care about themselves because that's their instinct because of 3 reasons. Number one, because this narrative is very dominant. That's to say that you are making sure that children internalize that value every single day. That looks like parents telling their children about communalism every single day. And you need to understand the nature of children is that they internalize value very easily. We think that they will grow up believing that communalism is more important than individualism. No, thank you. Second of all, just strategically speaking, I think it will be strategically worse for opposition to say that this narrative is weak, because if they say that this narrative will not be coercive, then all of their benefit of children knowing more about communalism will also be compromised. So this debate should operate under a coercive narrative that makes sure that children prioritize other people more rather than themselves. Why do we think that it is bad and toxic for you to care about other people more than yourself? The reason is simple, because you are your own individual. You have been there since day one, and you're going to be your own individual until the day you die. Most importantly, all the consequences that people personally will feel are one that will be handled and faced by those individuals alone. You need to understand that caring about others will always entail consequences. That looks like caring for other people, for them not to feel heartbreak, also compromises yourself from speaking up when you love them, for example. This looks like investing your time to coach your debate kids for free also compromises your time to study for your tests. We think that always entails sacrifices. It also looks like children in Chinese community who want to study law, for example, whose community tell them that this is not the standard that you should study. They will, even though they really love law, even they want to pursue law, we think that this narrative will make sure they follow community expectation. We think that under their side, they lose children agency, they lose individual agency, and individual care about themselves, other people more than themselves. Why is it very arbitrary principally? 2 reasons. Number one is because community bond is not always reciprocal. That's to say, friends will leave you at times. That's to say, friends might betray you at times. Caring for other people do not guarantee a reciprocal relationship. But secondly, it is also because you might not be your friend's only community. That is to say that your friends might have other friends aside from you, so that you might not be prioritized even though you prioritize them, because people's experiences and people's preference are always different. When you tell children that you should always care about the ones that you consider as community, you don't get that guarantee of benefit payback, as opposed that when you care about yourself, the benefit is clear, you know yourself most, and we think that it's better. But secondly, even though we engage to the context where community is good, we think that generally children have to be independent. That's to say, even though your mom is really caring about you, your mom will one day pass away. Your friends will one day like have their own community and graduate and, for example, move overseas. That's to say that regardless of community being toxic or good, children have to have that sort of independence, because everyone will leave them and they will have to live their life alone. That's why the ability to make choices that represent themselves the most and make sure that they get the benefit out of themselves the most is one that's very important, regardless of community being good or not. Second argument, why this harms the most marginalized community, which is mostly women. You need to understand that patriarchy is strengthened by the narrative that forces women to be selfless, to care about community most, and to care about their husband most. You need to understand that this creates legitimate grievance and legitimate justification for men to continue to oppress women. This looks like the narrative of you forcing your wife to stay at home because you have to care about your community, which is your children and your husband. And this makes sure that, for example, women compromises their own importance for their own community. This looks like arranged marriage trend in India that forces women to marry, for example, richer guys for the importance of their family, for example, and compromises their own individual importance. We think that even if this narrative happens to everyone, most importantly, the underprivileged and women are most targeted by this narrative, simply because other counterparts will still have their privilege, regardless of the narrative or not. So we think that the counterbalance narrative are able to be done by the privileged counterpart. For the underprivileged counterpart, they have no opt-out mechanism. Secondly, you need to understand that movement will still be there under both sides of the house. What the difference is, under our side, for example, women forming feminism will still be there. It doesn't mean that community will not be there, but it will be there for pragmatic reasons. That's to say, when you join feminism, you're prioritizing your own personal agenda, what you need as a woman. Under their side, the movement will be toxic, because for underprivileged women who knows that feminism is not prioritizing them, who are doing like a generic pragmatic for all women that only benefit the elite women, they're going to be shutting down and they're not going to speak up because it's for greater good. Under our side, we support a feminism and a movement that cares about individual importance that mostly underprivileged women actually need. That's why we are very proud to propose, for the sake of minority.
The first speaker have spent 7 minutes and 41 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 41 seconds. Next to speak, the first speaker of the opposition team. Time and place is yours. Wait a minute, let me set my timer.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're. Wait. Okay, you can start now.
Okay, starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. So what is the trade-off of this debate? The probe is like we're likely to be able to have higher level of individualism and free choice. However, on our side of the house, we have a sense of community.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hey, hello. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. Can you please repeat your speech? The timer hasn't started.
Okay. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. So what is the trade-off of this debate? The probe is likely to be able to have a higher level of individualism or free choice. However, on our side of the house, we have a sense of community. And through a certain level of conformity to community, we can develop a strong sense of community and also familiarity. So the government team said that they are prioritizing the individual. So we think that is it worth to prioritizing the individual while setting aside the community? And also they're talking about the feminism, while feminism is also fighting for the community safety and also the quality of their living. So well, we prioritize other people, but the other member of the community are going also to prioritize about you. That means, yes, you have to coach like your juniors for free, and it also will means that you will receive like coaching free for 3 years in prior. And also our case is going to show you what the sense of community is, why it is more important than the proposition benefit of the individualism. So for the illustration, ladies and gentlemen, what does the communalism look like? The first is it's believing in the greater good of the community, even what it means like giving up a part of your identity, and also following your communal norms like being forgiving, nice to people that you don't like, and also being well-mannered towards other people. And also the third is you're likely to be a member of a multiple communities. Typically, when you have one community that you cannot forsake, like a close family and or even the multiple, or even the multiple additional communities. So women are harmed in most women. They say that women are harmed the most. So we believe that on our side of the on your side of the house, women still be harmed by patriarchy. For example, men who objectify the women and also abuse the women are going to be more likely because there is no communal norms, there is no community sense.
Joy.
No, thank you. The problem they are outlining is patriarchy, which will manifest on the other side in just a different way. And also, these norms are usually coupled with a strong of protecting underprivileged groups, saying that men will also have to protect the women, saying that heaven is on the, I don't know how to say that in English, but it's like telapak kaki ibu, exactly because communal norms prioritizing reducing the communal friction, and there is intensive to create a norms that protect all individuals. So, and also my second speaker will also bring about the argument on the minorities. So we oppose because the first one it will affect the childhood, and also the second is it will affect the later in the adult life. So the first one is it's going to affect the childhood. So why it's going to affect the childhood? The characteristic of this communalism is the first thing is there are multiple parental figures in any given of neighborhood or space. Like in Hispanic community, there's always multiple like aunties that assist with raising the children's babysitting, even providing some needs for them like food. And also the benefit of these twofold is it's easier to raise the children. They get enough love and emotional nourishment from the multiple parental figure that they couldn't get at the first place. And also in the case that they have a bad parents, like they can seek that role of parental fulfillment that they need to form, for example, like the friendly neighborhood uncle that plays the basketball with them, or even those who accompany them. So another example is, if you're gay, you're unable to find a non-homophobic parental figure through this community infrastructure. While if you still believe in the individualism, you are not going to find that kind of community sense. And also the second is the high level of communalism within the same age group. From a young age of young parents, your parents are likely to go to tell you to play off with your friends and not to stay at home. Like that's one of the examples to confirming the social norm. And also this is an important part of building lasting relationship in the childhood. So ladies and gentlemen, the comparative is on our side. People are going to form like the friendship because they are forced to do by cultural norms. And on their side of the house, kids are more likely to break up these forms and not forming like the long lasting friendship because they prefer the individualism, and the individualism is encouraged. So people are will likely to be less similar interests, and people don't have intensive to fix the community friendship when they break because they are individualistic. And also, so what's the benefit of our side is the first is the long lasting friendship are important because when the other things are gonna fail, you have a support system, support structure to fall back onto. So later in your life, your job, when it's failing or something, you have a network or
Yeah.
friends to be go on, or even if no, thank you, or even it's just in the fact that you can call your childhood friends, or even you're going through a tough times at work. That emotional is something important that we provide on our side of the house. And the second is it is going to affect in the adult life. So how you make the connection later in life. So how do you make it? The comparative is on their side of the house. People are going to be more individualistic, and they're going to be unable to compromise in social situation because they will they're never be tough like how to socialize in a proper way. Well, they try to frame that anyone can join like the community of like the minded people on their side of the house, but this won't happen because they never developed that necessary skill to be a proper member of the community, and typically this ends in you leaving like the community when small fights happen, and this looks like leaving the community because you don't feel respected. And also the second is you never train how to repair relationship in a community and build back after a fight. So joining and adjusting to communities are more beneficial and effective and accepting in a beneficial that exists exclusively on our side of the house because kids learn how to do that. The point is on their side of the house, people try it up alone, and because of the norm is to prioritize self and teach everyone else. Well, for all those reasons, we're probably to oppose. Thank you.
The first speaker of the opposition team spent 7 minutes and 17 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 17 seconds. Let me take my time to write it down.
Wait, if you don't mind, can you like wait for a minute? I'm taking my charger for my laptop. It is dying.
Okay, please.
I'm back.
Next to speak, the second speaker of the government team. Time and place is yours.
I need time to organize my paper first. And timer. Okay. 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 I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, notice that what we meant by team proposition is not suddenly you want to be like extremely individualistic to begin with, that you're going to be forced to be somewhat individualistic since you were born. Notice what the motion tells you is that we are regretting the dominant narrative of the communalism itself. Doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot choose the community that suits to yourself, ladies and gentlemen. So there are like too many arguments coming from team opposition that tells you that we community are not accessible under our side of the house. But before I'm moving on my speech, I'm going to give few rebuttals towards their case. So first of all, when they told you regarding the idea of how under our side of the house, we will tend to be individualistic and no one is going to help you in your life because you always rely on yourself on and on. Notice that this is an extreme case, right? Like, of course, the moment we regret the value of communalism doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot get help from your uncle. Of course, they are your family. Doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot engage with your cousins, for example. Those kinds of things later. Those kinds of things are still accessible under our side of the house. But then the other thing that they also mentioned on their case is that regarding, oh, under our side of the house, there will be the tendency for the breakup of friendship to happen, and there will be no motivation for this friendship to happen to begin with. Notice that there are a lot of factors they can counterbalance this, right? Like, for example, as a human, you have the sense of feeling of human, of like the sense of attachment, for example, the sense of emotional, for example. Of course, the moment you break up with your friends or your mates, for example, you always have this internal motivation to always like, oh, let's bring back all the memories that we have, let's bring back all the attachment that we have. These other factors, a lot of factors can affect this human to have a motivation to fix their relationship. But note this, right? They bring a lot of examples regarding like relationship between your family and friendship and so on. That doesn't include to communal, right? Friendship is like mostly like groups or like 2 until 5 people. So you should disregard their arguments in the first place. But then I'm going to talk about what matters the most in this debate, right? First of all, I'm going to talk about how the moment we do not regret the dominant narrative of communalism, it will be going to be harmful, because the one that stands within the status quo is just the community that have majority value. For example, understand, panels, the value of communalism is that you always have one certain value that you inject within the community. That is to say, the value of like what do you like, probably like STEM subject or some kind of things like that. This serves as an identity towards this community, right? Furthermore, this is going to be harmful. Why is this so? Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen under their side is that the community that stays, the community that that stands within the status quo is just the community that have dominant value, or like the value that is suitable with the majority, instead of like the people who are minority. Like, for example, as the children or the community that will stay or like being famous or like popular, for example, is just the community who has like STEM interest, for example, and those kind of things like that. We envision a world where we want to embrace all values regarding it is dominant or not. So people who have ideas who are minor comparatively to the majority doesn't have to be forced to succumb to the majority value. An example would be, imagine in an elementary school, say the dominant community would be boys who play soccer, boys who play basketball, boys who play like sports, any kinds of sports. Under their side of the house, panels, they will stigmatize people who are they will stigmatize other boys who like to play chess, for example, or other interests who are comparatively like minor within the school, for example. At the end of the day, they will be oppressed and also marginalized and feel like, oh, I should succumb to the majority value. And the moment they are taught the idea of majority is the best, it's going to be a lot harmful, because they don't think that the value that they uphold on is something that is right. They don't know whether it's something that is actually true, the true thing of themselves. But then, why is this becomes an important issue, right? Because first of all, this is harmful because as a child, you cannot find your own meaning of your life, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have your own purpose of life. You always succumb to like, okay, the majority of my class play soccer. That is why I need to play soccer too. Otherwise, I am not relevant within the society. But second of all, it's also harmful because it's less likely for you to engage to other community. Imagine what's going to happen is that the society will be totally homogeneous. Like, that is to say, the one that stands is just probably the interest of something that is dominant. So say that you like chess, you cannot engage to the community that likes soccer. But then on the second point, why regretting the dominant value of communalism is something that we need to vote for? Because note this, there are some people in the status quo who are inherently anti-social, ladies and gentlemen. There are people who born with the identity who they are not comfortable interacting with the people who are extroverts, for example, which is something that is totally fine, which is something that is the nature of the human. But under their side of the house, they will be oppressed and also marginalized too. Because here's the thing, under our side of the house, we're going to embrace all extrovert, introvert, and or ambivert people, because they can choose how do they will attract to other community, for example. on the comparison under their side of the house, these antisocial people will be forced to interact on and on. Once you wake up as a child in the morning, your mom will told you, hey, play with other boys from the neighborhood. Otherwise, you will be told that you're antisocial, which is bad, because antisocial is something that is not wrong in the nature. But it is also harmful because you will have to sacrifice your energy, right? Imagine you already went from school, but then you are forced to interact with your sister, for example. You forced to interact with other communities in your neighborhood, for example. This is not only harmful mentally but also physically. That is why under side opposition, they need to prove to you how this anti-social people will become at the end of the day. And that is why we're very proud to represent Tentara Merah in this debate. Thank you.
The second speaker of the government team spent 7 minutes and 12 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Let me take my time to write it down. Next to speak, the second speaker of the opposition team. Time and place is yours.
Wait a second. Am I audible here? Okay. Wait. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. All right. In this case, the first thing that I really want to declare, I want to emphasize again, is about the current motion here. Let me spell it out again. This House regret the dominant narrative that aims to prioritize teaching values of communalism for children. Here, why I want to emphasize both of them is because the government team sees this motion as if that they are talking more about the communalism that already happened. But here instead, in this motion, we're supposed to be talking about when we are prioritizing teaching values of communalism for children. Therefore, from the start of the debate, my first speaker already focused on how this kind of communalism thinking is going to be more beneficial.
POI.
No, thank you. For the children itself when they are growing. And here is the thing. One of the things that I'm really confused about the government's team's principle, their goal. They try to accept all people. They try to accept all people here, want to make them feel home at those kind of wherever it is, regardless of their identity. But then they also emphasize on benefit. They emphasize that people need to focus on their personal benefit instead of people how other people are thinking, or the communal values. What contradicts here is that people, if, for example, you want to emphasize with me, then you have to try to understand me, and understanding me might not really beneficial for you. But if we want to get this kind of understanding, we need to have these community values. Therefore, teaching these community values from the start is very important for those children to be able to get to be able to live in a society. Here's the thing: the speaker government team, no, thank you, brings about the example of antisocial people. Well, antisocial people. When we're talking about antisocial people, we cannot really only say that there are only one cause of it. Maybe the personality, maybe there are other causes for that. And if we're going to look at more deeply, we cannot really say that it's only because of their personality that they cannot get accepted by the society. No, but no, thank you. If we are teaching them from the start that community values or this communalism is
Before
teach
that, sir.
them, no, thank you, from the start of the case, then they will eventually understand that it is important for them to socialize. And if their personality is that they cannot blend well to the society, have social anxiety, for example, because they are hard to talk with other people, then this kind of communal sense is also what made other people able to try to understand that person is so that they can understand that that person needs is different from themselves. So this kind of communal value is a very important uh, to be able to make all of those children grow to be a more empathetic person and make them able to socialize better in the future.
POI.
No, thank you. Also, if I want to get a sense like this, you said that in your side of the house, you still can get help from your parents. No, from your uncles, for example, but we're not really talking about, blood linked uncle here. But the fact that in your community, for example, in your neighborhood, that when you focus on the communal values there, and people from that neighborhood is close to each other, then eventually other parents from other houses, not really their blood linked relationship, will be close to them and will be able to help them. Why they are going to help that kids, even though they are from a different family? Because this kind of societal link bond happen because they are using this kind of cultural values in the first place. Therefore, if we're not teaching them the culture of values from the start, then it will be dangerous for them to think only about individual self and their benefit. Okay, coming to my next argument, it is about who benefit the most from this kind of society. The society that we try to envision here is a society that is kind to each other. And to be kind to each other, they need to feel that they are belong to this kind of one community sense. And it will be more beneficial to those of the minority groups that's being stated by the other, by the also the government team. For example, the women, if women are close to each other, then they can relate to each other more. And this kind of things don't really happen in government side of the house if they only focus on personal benefit, because then they are not really focusing on what can they do to the community, to all women's around them, but they're only thinking about themselves. How do they get away from a life's hardship? Also, it could be applied as well to like the Chinese group, for example. When Chinese families are close linked to each other, then even though they might be minority inside of the society in Indonesia, but then they can help each other because of this kind of sense of connection between those families. And those kind of connection should be nurtured from the start, with the children being more focused on the communalism. That's why we proud to oppose. Thank you very much for your nice attention.
The second speaker of the government team, the opposition team, spent 7 minutes and 22 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Let me take my time to write it down. Okay, next to speak, the third speaker of the government team.
Hey, am I audible? Am I loud and clear? And by the way, if you have any POI, just open your mic because I won't be looking at the Zoom chat. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. If you have ever watched me debate, you will know that I usually prepare some really sassy and catchy opening lines. Here though, I won't. Here tonight, instead of using those cool sounding lines, I want to start my speech by delivering out some apologies in advance. Firstly, I want to deliver the first apology in advance to my old friend Kai, who I knew even before NSDC of 2018. I'm going to be extremely sorry that you have to spend time trying to rebuild your team's case because I will completely obliterate your team's entire claim. Best of luck though, and trust me, it's not personal issues business. However, judges, you should take notice that Kai's possible method dumping at Upwit will not be enough for the Faculty of Psychology to win this debate, because our entire case is going over the rules right now. That being said, I don't even need to speak for FH to win. Secondly, I want to apologize in advance to you judges if this speech sounds kind of messy, though it's actually not. My justification is that I have an extremely important PHI test tomorrow that I haven't even touched for a freaking second, and I'm desperate to do it ASAP. Anyway, this is very important. These apologies do not cause any point of my speech, and there should be absolutely no reason for you to cut my score without listening to my entire contribution, because after this, I'm still going to be totally proud to propose. One point of clarification. Before this debate becomes a definitional debate, let's try a couple second ops characterization. We have established a truly clear stance from the landscape of today's debate, right? Of whether or not communalism is extremely good or extremely bad. We have a very bold stance here that if you want to put yourself before the others, it's fine. Your surroundings don't pay for your freaking bills. You do it yourself. Their opinion should not matter over you. So yes, deputy, if you're confused, it's not on us, it's on you. Maybe you should do more of your case building in your own side. But then let's continue to two issues in this debate, right? Two very important issues. One, does it ensure better living for children? Two, does it ensure better living for the society? Firstly, does it ensure better living for children? No, it doesn't. We prove to you why being constrained by community expectation is never a way for someone to grow a solid life. We mentioned to you firstly why this is a form of brainwashing, not internalizing as you usually teach people. If I want to say that, oh, children as the perfect age to teach this, well, this worsens the principal harm in their side. And hey, this is different from teaching math and science, yeah, because this includes their daily life, how they act towards environment, how they react towards the burden that they have to bear in communal environment. But secondly, notice that opposition is advocating for a draconian world with no escape mechanism for people who are unconsentedly born as black guy, born as a Chinese descent in Indonesia, to be constantly taught that it's taboo to study law, though here I am. People are no more than property of their community. They are no more than communal slaves with no agency, with no alternative whatsoever to do what they want to do, instead of being a puppet for what is claimed to be a greater good by an arbitrary standard of ignored community. So they provided a whole lot of strawman ideas here. Firstly, oh, you won't have a sustainable friendship. Two responses. Number one, friends are freaking overrated anyway. The idea of support system is overrated anyway. We managed to prove to you why these friends don't only get involved in your own community, but they have other communities than with you. That being said, they will have these kinds of prioritization that we do not want to risk. If you help them, then you don't know whether or not they will help you. In the end of the day, we say this is completely harmful. But second, let's address the idea of friendship in and of itself. What they don't realize here, in the other hand, is the other impacts towards the more vulnerable people, which is people who do not have a privilege to have a support system, having a peer group. They will going to be scrutinized extremely badly because you're deemed to be socially awkward. You're deemed to be a social freak. These people need support system the most. And if they're being constantly taught, no, not taught, brainwashed, that friendship and community is everything, they will not turn into other escape mechanism when they have problems. We say these people deserve to be protected. If they don't have a privilege of friendship, don't associate growing ADS OE, not because of their own doing, but it's because they're born in the middle of a war in Syria. We say you should not judge the people. You should not give them this kinds of, stigmatization. We say this stigmatization is completely unjust. But how do they respond to this? They say that, oh, you need communal values still to be understood. This is a very presumptive-based case, right? And if you notice the trend, this is what happened throughout their entire case. So Kai needs to do an entirely landscape and entirely new landscape, and I don't think that's legal as of with. You cannot make sure that these people will suddenly care. Hey, wake up. This ain't a Disney castle. We see antisocial people getting scrutinized even worse. We see antisocial people being bullied by these kinds of bullies who I've already characterized to you. They play soccer, they play basketball, or other high school stereotypes that we have. This idea of friendship is overrated. We managed to prove that. But then secondly, they said, oh, you need to be nice to your bullies. Look, if there's something that my family held, my religion taught me until today that I can't seem to understand the practical benefit, it's this, right? What's the point of you still giving your only candy to your bullies when they're constantly kicking your butt, right? We say this is completely a pragmatic harm that we could say like, okay, we care less about the principle of how you do good to people. We say that the intangible harm that happens to you, we do not want to stand for this. But they say, oh, they need their parental figures to to accompany them. This is purely based on presumption. Notice that they never give you characteristics of what kind of people need to do this. People do need these accompaniments, right? We on the other hand explain what is completely exclusive. We will still have this in our side. But they say, oh, it's easier to raise children. Two responses. One, this is not even exclusive and practical, right? In our side, we can also easily raise children because the idea of parental relationship, the ideal one, don't force you to succumb into communal benefits, but more on how they become a figure to give children the opportunities to do things that they desire to, right? A good parents will not prevent their children to chase their dreams. This is the ideal form of parenting that we want to defend in our case. But this no longer becomes a problem of practicality. This is a huge principle flaw. You're teaching your children by giving them norms that they can easily believe and so that you can maintain full control. We don't want to stand for this one. The last time we see this, North Korea and Kim Jong-un. Okay, I don't need to explain this anymore. But let's do 3 points of weighing here. Number one, their whole principle harm of utilizing children golden age to succumb into an arbitrary authority is not the kind of food they want to defend. Number two, let's not pragmatic here because there is the most important thing to be talked about here, right? You don't help other people just because this is completely a difficult claim to prove. But lastly, we can also swallow their entire benefits because social relationship also happen on our side. The difference is this is based on consent. Consent is extremely important, right? Because you don't succumb to a communal relationship simply because you're told to, right? You have consent. You can manage the cost and benefit opportunity that if you join this particular group, then what you will get and what must cost you in expense. This is the idea of consent is extremely important, and they don't have that in their case because they're being constantly pressed by the community to do so. But secondly, does it ensure better living for society? Absolutely not. This forces people perception towards marginalized community to bloom. Their response to our feminism case. Feminism also have the rights of communalism. Also fights for communalism. You have to differ between fighting for individuals in a massive scale and fighting for communal rights. Feminism targets the most disenfranchised people, women who are in India that is constantly oppressed by their husband, right? Not exactly the whole community of women in the entire world at once. This is what we're fighting for, right? Because people's life are urgent. People's life are urgent that to some extent they're being totally depressed. They're being totally having a suicide tendency. We want to save these people instead of forcing these people to think that we should prioritize other people first. No, we do not want to stand for this one. We have a very bold stance here, and they should challenge us that. How you should win this debate is to use the frame that I provided because I managed to prove to you how it's better for children and how it's better for the society. These ones are going to be my punchline in this speech. What have we proven to you until now? One, we clearly win this debate by dominating some major issues that exist, and we answer every burden that we have to. We see lack of responses from opposition bench. Two, I'm just going to state the obvious here. That judging for the virtual crowd reaction, you'll know people want to see FH speaking in back-to-back grand finals. I know you do too. The choice is on you, and I don't see literally any reason for you not to give us FOE batch of 2020 an opportunity to speak in a big podium. That being said, the only logical conclusive action that you should do next is vote the Makara Merah. And because we do deserve the win anyway, we are extremely proud to propose. Vote the
Here, here.
First speaker of the governing team spends 7 minutes and 19 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Let me take my right. Next to speak.
Am I free to start?
Okay, wait. Next to speak, the third speaker of the opposition team, time and place is.
Ooh, my heart's pounding. Given that Justin turned off his camera, he's still here. Anyways, good luck for your test, Justin. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start by pointing acknowledgement made by the second speaker of government in their speech, in which they desperately confusedly tried to rebut our case and at one point said, yeah, but we're not talking about families, right? You can still hang out with your uncle. You should still hang out with your cousin. There are two things that I would like to note about this concession. First, we would like to point out what would families look like on their side if there's no norm to bond with your community, which families are blood, but they're also a community of people who walk with each other. And presumably you wouldn't have connections with your family. But secondly, we would point out that the good have relationships with your uncles and cousins come from existing inside the community. Our case is that under their side of the house, people will not be shaped with the necessary skills and skill sets in order to develop as members of communities. But first, before two clashes, like benefits on individuals and benefits on minorities, I will deal with like, what does the counterfactual actually look like? What they wanted to do was say that, no, thank you, was to say, actually, I'll take it before my first clash. Yeah. What they wanted to say was that they don't want individuals to be forced to enter into a community that prioritizes other people above themselves. And what they're going to do is instead a part of. There are two reasons why communities will not exist on a strong manner in their side of the house. First, that is the skill to be able to maintain social connections, to be able to like forgive people even if they don't apologize, to compromise, and all of these things. Since under their side of the house, individuals are never asked to participate in a community.
Sir, point.
Are told that they should ever develop. As such, communities, as they would like to think exist, do not exist under their side of the house. The second thing that's required for a community to be able to thrive is commitment. That is, you need individual members of the community to, this is precisely what they dissolve under their side of the house, the moment where they no longer think that, they think that there should not be a norm of committing to your community, right? So the counterflow on their side of the house is not that they can pick and choose perfect communities for their side of the house. They had to and failed to defend the idea of not living in a community or severely limited in your interactions with the community. The example of this is, for example, when you get into a fight with your community, for example, you feel less respected by them, you leave that community and say, you know what, I'm going to do this elsewhere, right? Yeah, so that's what it that's what it looks like. But even if they still become members of communities under their side of the house, what that looks like then is having a have social skill, because you don't have the ability to compromise, because you don't have the ability to like forgive people even if they don't apologize. I question under their side of the house. Before I move to my first clash, that's the counterfactual. I'll take the POI.
Oh, you still have a huge burden here to defend why is it completely ideal and why is it pragmatically good for you to commit in a relationship, in an environment, in a social connection that you don't know it will benefit you in the end of the day.
Okay, so here's where they are completely disingenuous through all three speakers, and it's the fatal flaw of their case. Coincidentally, it's also the start of my first clash. They presume this within a community are symmetrical. What give up, other members of the community are also expected to give that up too. What that means is it's false for, okay, I'll turn off my camera to try and make this better. Okay, so keep telling me if the connection is bad. What that means is that on our side of the house, yes, we deprioritize ourselves, but everyone else also does that too. And the absolute disengagement from side proposition, where they refuse to acknowledge that to any extent, where they want to portray it as if it's us giving us food to our bullies. No, it's not us giving food to our bullies. It's us giving us food to our friends, and our friends giving food back to us. That's a reciprocal relationship. They brought two arguments under this clash. First, they said deprioritizing their self, which I already told you why that's completely disingenuous. But furthermore, I would like to point out here that they never really characterized what this wants, besides two examples in Danielle's speech and then in Justin's speech. In first speaker's speech and then third speaker's speech, when they said that Chinese individuals are not allowed to join FA. Evidently, since both of them are in this debate, that's not true. But second of all, second of all, I would like to point out that this is not typically what it looks like. Typically, what it looks like is allowing members of the community to be able to leave, to be able to pursue what they want, requesting that they contribute back to their community. In Padang, what this looks like is the community propels you to pick the career choice that you want, but after that, you're required to like give some money back and help some of your friends who weren't able to afford college. Secondly, we would like to point out that we think that the reason why individuals are able to pursue what they want to begin with is because communities exist. And because people are strong members of you, is there for you. We pointed out multiple examples about how when your parents are unable to raise you, the local in a Spanish community are able to help raise you. When you're looking for someone to increase your skills, there's a variety of different parental figures. Second thing that they told us under this clash was that some people are antisocial and they get abused for joining the chess club. The fact that the chess club exists in the status quo means that this argument is also disingenuous. But if they want to talk about the fact that antisocial people don't get friends, I like to point out two things. First of all, every single quote unquote antisocial person that I know wants to be has a couple of close friends, right? So the question, and they do like want to have some degree of social connection. So the question in this debate is not whether or not these people want social connections. The question in this debate, no thank you, is how we maintain social connections for these individuals. Given the fact that they do not have innate ability to create social house, the moment in which we have these communal norms that help push people towards generating skills that's required to be a member of a community. Again, this looks like forgiving other people. This looks like being able to maintain long-term conversations, even if you don't share interests. This looks like being able to make compromises, right? Note that on our side of the house, we said that the general benefit was being able to have emotional venting, which is important just because psychologically speaking, we're social beings. The response that we got from their side of the house was a one-liner from from third speaker, to say that friends are overrated. That's not enough. So they don't have friends under their side of the house because they never developed the skills to generate friends. But even if they did have friends under their side of the house, firstly, they'd be unable to share a deep emotional connection because they don't have the communal norms that pushes them to want to want to be fully trusting. Second of all, we'd like to point out that they're going to get into fights all the time with their friends because they feel like their friends don't appreciate them. And even if we cannot choose our friends on our side of the house, that's exactly what makes these bonds powerful, because they're unified by a community and you're pushed together. And I think that sense of community. Opos ya, maaf banget.
I think your heart knows that this motion should stand. So
Okay, the third speaker of the opposition team spent 7 minutes and 34 seconds. I repeat, 7 minutes and 34 seconds. Next to speak, the reply speaker of the government team, time and place is
op reply is supposed to
opposition, reply speaker of the opposition. Sorry.
Ya, tadi ngomongnya Gaf, jadi aku bingung. Okay, wait a minute. Nggak punya choice ya. Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. In this debate, as we tries to emphasize again as the opposition teams how important this dominant narration that teach children to focus more on communalism. Here, we believe that the teaching of the communalism itself is going to help those children to be able to live happily in the society. Means that they can get through some social problems and knows how to socially works inside society. From the first speaker of our side of the house, we're trying to focus what kind of benefit, what kind of effect that would happen if we prioritize this kind of teaching values to the children according to that what will happen in the childhood and what will happen in the later adult life. First, I want to emphasize again that what happened in their childhood is that they will get a help or get a sense of community from people around them. They will get a parental figures around them, not only their small blood related family, and also they will have a long lasting friendship with other people from the same age group. And therefore, this kind of training in social situation that they already got in their times of childhood will eventually be able to help them to face off some problems that might happen in the future. And all of this problem that happen in the future is actually most of the cases that is being brought by the government team. The government team focus more on individualism, on how they want make children to focus firstly on themselves, to focus on the personal benefit. But this kind of teaching from the start then will create all of those other problems that eventually rise up uh, when they are getting older, such as bullying and such. And therefore, all of those cases that happen in the government side of the house is also the fault of the system that they try to build, which is not focusing on the community sense or the communalism itself. And therefore, we still believe that focusing more on the communalism will be most benefit to those children. One of the case might be the antisocial people, because when even though that those antisocial people uh, try to avoid interaction, they still need friends, they still need relationship, and in their side of the house, they don't have friends. They don't really focus on getting friends because they think that friends is not important. But we also establish here that this kind of friendship is also important to help the sense of getting a bond, and also the sense of uh, benefit that being tried to be brought by by the government team. Therefore, in our side of the house, we get what the government team tries to get, but in a sense that we got the happiness that we want, we got the sense of community that we want, and we think that those kind of things is very important for those people's life, because in the end we're still a human being, we're still a social being, therefore we still focus on our society, and we're still focusing on the people. Therefore, we are proud to propose. Thank you very much for your nice attention.
The reply speaker of the opposition team have spent 4 minutes and 8 seconds. I repeat, 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Let me write it down. Next to speak, the reply speaker of the government team. Time and place is yours.
Am I audible? All right, I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, all 3 speeches from opposition are problematic. The most problematic comes from their first when they say it, and I quote, "The harm of individualism is you leave your community when you don't feel fit in." Excuse me, hello, when you feel like you are not comfortable with your community, then the most sensible and rational thing that you have to do is to leave exactly under your side. When you have known that your community is indeed toxic, you're forcing an individual to stay inside that community only under the basis that you have to bond with the community, that you have to forgive people who have deeply hurt you and hurt your self-development. We don't think that that's a sensible world that you can actually vote for as an educator. For that reason alone, I think they loses the debate already. But I'm going to be charitable and prove to you 2 systematic clashes as to why they lost. First, does friendship and relationship worth it? Second, how do it affect minority group? First of all, individual or community. Their only premise is that we want to have community bond. First of all, we think that we have proven to you this is not exclusive, because those bond can be achieved under the pragmatic calculus. You still can get community, but under our side, that's on the basis on whether or not a community benefit you as an individual. The decision calculus comes back to your choice and your consent and your consideration on your own self-development, and not for the greater good. That's a distinction that I think I've made clear in the first speech. Their only response come from Kai, this is not only late, but this is problematic. They say that you don't have skill to actually socialize and to bond. Hello, you don't have to be constantly emphasize on the communalism to learn to associate, right? Because, for example, all of us are debaters and we still can be friends, even though we know that we are all personally interested. It might not be genuine, but we still can integrate with each other. We still can actually bond a community, even if it is on the base of pragmatism. We don't think that community will suddenly disappear when you start to care about yourself furthermore. But even if it is true that you don't have community bond, we question to you, what is the utility of community bond, right? Because all of their analysis about long-term friendship assumes that you have good friends that you can actually have long-term friendship with. All of their argument about seeking refuge to your auntie assumes that all of your aunties are non-homophobic. I mean, like, I have a family of 50 people, none of them support gay rights. That's only a best case assumption. What do we tell you under our side? Our side, first of all, we tell you that this debate should not talk about good community, because good community can be also achieved under our side because it is done based on pragmatic self-interest. But second of all, even in their best case, right, even if it's good community, we prove to you why it's not okay to dependent on your good community, because all of your good communities are definitely, right, your parents are going to die. Your auntie that you seek refuge to are going to die one day. All of your friends are going to graduate and go different ways when you graduate in college. It is not okay for individual to be dependent on good community alone. We prove to you and we engage to that. But I think that they have never engaged at all about the bad community that we are talking about. Because you as a gay individual, when you're actually inside a homophobic community, homophobic organization, under their side, they're forcing them to stay because you have to forgive people, because you have to prioritize community, because the greater good, aside from your individual interests, we don't think that that's a benefit at all under their side. What is the tipping point? First, all of their benefit about getting good community is not exclusive. Their community argument relies on best case that community is positively contributing to you. But second of all, we also say that individuals under our side is better because individuals owe themselves more, right? Because when you die, for example, when you're getting old, you are with yourself alone. When you're sick, for example, you're paying on for your own bill. Your friends are not going to help you. This is not contested at all by opposition. But second of all, I just want to point out that all of my argument about women are extremely dismissed by opposition. Their only response is patriarchy still exists under both sides. Yes, it still exists, but the opting out mechanism that you could have given to women by telling them you should care about yourself, you should be selfish, and you should choose to be a working woman despite of your husband telling that you should care about your children and your family, still exists under their side. Under their side, you give men a more legitimate ground to demand women to stay at home because of community tie and community bond. We don't think that response is actually negating our point about women at all. Educator, listen, you have to vote for FH, because if you're not only disappointing us, you're disappointing FH, you're disappointing.
The reply speaker of the government team have spent 4 minutes and 41 seconds. This is the end of the debate round. All speakers and educators may return to the main room. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thank you for the debate.
Thank you for the debate.
Thank you.
Guys, for the debate.
Thank you all.
Fun.
Justin, belajar buat ujian dong, jangan tetap di sini.
You know what? Screw the test. Who cares?
Justin mah udah penil. Ih,
Nah, gimana nih teman-teman? Tadi debatnya pasti seru kan? Nah, selagi nunggu hasilnya, sebelum masuk ke pengumuman dari Ekor, kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada sponsor karena OIM UI 2020 tidak akan dapat berjalan tanpa Jenius, Bogasari, dan Apartemen Taman Melati. Selanjutnya, saya serahkan kembali kepada Ekor untuk melanjutkan pengumuman. Terima kasih.
Hello, tadi semuanya yang FPsip sama FT, kalian veto motion apa ya? Halo? Tadi
FT sama FPsip Toku sama-sama veto mosi 3 deh.
sama-sama veto. Terus, jadi tadi preferensinya sama?
Tadi toss coin.
Oke.
Test. Am I audible? Can anyone confirm?
Yeah, audible. Test.
Okay, cool. This marks the end of the semifinal rounds. Before we proceed, we'd like to start the announcements for who proceeds to the grand finals rounds, starting with the semifinals for the English debate. First of all, I'd like to call the chair of the first chamber with FH versus FPsi, Kak Randy. If you could please announce the results. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, hi, am I audible?
You are.
Okay, so in chamber number 1, English debate between law in proposition and psychology in the opposition. And paneling with me, there is Dio and Ansa. It was a very great debate, and with the unanimous decision, the first grand finalists go to the grand final of OIM 2020. Congratulations, Proposition Law Faculty.
Yay!
Yay!
Garing banget.
Congratulations, Steffa. Lagi semangat PHI guys. Okay, to continue to announce the second grand finalist, we welcome the chair of the second chamber, Physics versus FT, Audrina, announce the results.
Hello everyone. In my room, it was a debate between government team and the opposition team. Of course, with the motion about the condition of humanity, judging with me is Alvin from FH and Sam from UMN. With a split decision 2-1, the second grand finalist to advance is government team Physics. Yay!
Woo! Oh, so that means that the grand finalists for tomorrow are Physics and FH. Congratulations. Please don't forget to come on time tomorrow. To continue, we're going to proceed with the announcement for the results of the semifinals of OIM UI Bahasa Indonesia. Chair
Okay.
roll. Okay.
Congratulations tim Inggris. Sekarang kita langsung proceed ke pengumuman grand final. Grand finalist bagi tim Bahasa Indonesia. Aku bakal undang share dari room 1. Room 1, berarti Visip lawan Breaking 4. Siapa aku lupa. Visip lawan FH. Halo. Chair-nya mana ya? Kak Ojan. Kak Ojan. Kak Ojan. Kok nggak ada orangnya? Loh. Bentar guys. Oke, karena nggak ada Kak Ojan, kita undang panelnya aja. Mungkin untuk Fanny, ada nggak di sini Fanny? Panel lainnya?
Kayaknya masih pada di breakout room semua deh, Rick.
Oke, baik.
Oh ya, Rick, nih gua udah masuk. Room 2 Indo.
Iya, oke, ternyata tadi jurinya masih di breakout room. Sekarang udah balik lagi. Ya, langsung aja aku undang share dari room 1 Debat Bahasa Indonesia, boleh umumin pemenangnya. Kepada Kak Ojan. Kak Ojan.
Wait for a minute. Wait, guys, it's a tough decision. Wait.
Atau room yang satunya lagi aja kalau nggak udah belum?
Oke, karena room 1 agak lama, kita undang langsung share dari room 2 kepada Bintang Sumapraja.
Oke, hai semua. Gue Bintang, tadi gue ngeju sama Michelle sama Hira, room 2. Tim pro-nya itu dari FK, tim kontranya itu dari Via, dan untuk keputusannya unanimous, semuanya setuju kalau yang akan lanjut ke babak final debat Bahasa Indonesia OIM 2020 adalah selamat kepada tim kontra Via.
Ya, selamat kepada tim kontra dari FIA menjadi grand finalis pertama di Debat Indonesia. Sekarang langsung Kak Oja.
Oke, di ruang 1 ada gue dan ada Fanny dan Agnes sebagai juri antara tim pro dari FH melawan tim kontra dari FISIP, dan keputusannya adalah 2-1, dan yang maju ke babak final, ya final kan ya? Oke, yang maju ke babak final adalah selamat kepada tim pro FH.
Ya, selamat kepada tim dari Fakultas Hukum udah masuk ke grand final debat Bahasa Indonesia OIM. Dengan aku mewakili panitia mau ngucapin terima kasih banyak buat teman-teman yang udah bertanding di semifinal hari ini. Semifinalnya panas banget, keren-keren semuanya. Dan see you next. Yang belum masuk ke grand final
Commiserations everyone.
Commiseration.
Second hand embarrassment.
Iya, gue berasa malu juga loh.
Maaf ya guys. Ya, untuk yang masuk final besok dipersiapin lagi supaya makin kece. Ya, langsung aja aku berikan lagi kepada panitia. Kepada panitia.
Oke, terima kasih Riki. Selamat kepada semua fakultas yang sudah masuk ke babak final. Dan besok jangan lupa ada juga perebutan juara 3. Sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Bogasari, Apartemen Taman Melati, dan juga Jenius yang sudah mensponsori OIM UI 2020 tahun ini. Terima kasih.
Maaf. Kemarin saya dapat informasi katanya nggak ada perebutan juara 3 pakai adu skor. Ini jadi yang benar bagaimana ya?
Tunggu ya, Alam sama Anita juga bisa confirm. Thank you. It's going to be through scoring, so the only ones that have to be present tomorrow are the grand finalists, commiseration finalists. You did great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Good luck.
Oke, I think that is the end of our meeting today. Selamat tidur buat teman-teman yang mau tidur, buat yang besok ada ujian, semangat belajarnya. Do your best. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you everyone.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.